Imagine a man whose ideas form the foundation of sociology, yet his philosophy harbors sexism and authoritarianism. Quite a contradiction in contrast, we will soon learn. Welcome to another episode, and into the world of Auguste Comte. Born on January 19, 1798 in Montpellier, France, Comte grew up amidst the chaos of the French Revolution. His early life was marked by turbulence and change, a reality that would deeply shape his future theories. Educated at the prestigious École Polytechnique, he was exposed to the leading minds of his time. However, his education was cut short by the political upheaval of his era, and he found himself expelled for his rebellious spirit. This early setback didn't deter Comte. Instead, it fueled his determination to understand the forces shaping society, leading him to develop the concept of positivism. His early experiences thus played a crucial role in shaping his philosophy. A man of paradoxes, Comte's journey is as intriguing as it is controversial. As a man focused on the 19th century, Comte had a vision for a new scientific approach to understanding society, which he called, once again, positivism. Comte's brainchild, positivism, was a radical shift from conventional philosophical thinking. It proposed a new way to study society, akin to how we examine the physical world. Positivism was based on the belief that the only authentic knowledge is scientific knowledge, and such knowledge can only come from positive affirmation of theories through strict scientific methods. Comte proposed that society, like the natural world, could be studied scientifically and that the knowledge gathered could be used to better it. He broke down the development of human knowledge into three stages: theological, metaphysical, and positive. The theological stage was characterized by explanations based on divine powers, where everything was attributed to the gods. The metaphysical stage was a transitional period where abstract forces or entities were credited for the phenomenon. Finally, we reach the positive stage, the stage Comte believed contemporary society was entering. Here, explanations for phenomena were sought in observable facts, studied through scientific methods. This stage rejected introspection and intuition, focusing instead on external and objective observation. The impact of positivism on the development of sociology cannot be understated. Comte's ideas gave birth to the discipline, asserting that sociology could be a science, just like physics or chemistry. His insistence on empirical observation and the use of scientific methods to study society paved the way for later social scientists. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Positivism was, and still is, a subject of controversy. Critics argued that human society is not as predictable or quantifiable as Comte proposed. They pointed out the complexity of human behavior and the influence of subjective experiences, which cannot be captured through objective observation alone. Despite the criticism, positivism had a profound impact on the social sciences, pushing them towards a more empirical and systematic approach. It was controversial as well as groundbreaking. Positivism became Comte's legacy to the world. But beneath the surface of Comte's revolutionary ideas, a darker philosophy was not only brewing but existing in Comte's mind. Comte, now viewed as the father of positivism, held views that were deeply authoritarian. He envisioned a society rigidly structured, a hierarchy where each individual had a designated place and role. This vision was rooted in an almost religious belief in the supremacy of order. Comte believed that the stability of society hinged on maintaining this hierarchy with power concentrated at the top. In Comte's ideal society, the ruling class, composed of industrialists and scientists, would make decisions for the greater good. The masses, he believed, lacked the capacity to understand the complexities of society and should therefore accept their place and follow the directives of the elite. This rigid social structure, with its inherent inequality, is a far cry from the democratic ideals we hold dear today. Equally troubling were Comte's views on gender. Women, in his perspective, were inherently inferior to men. Can you imagine the problems he would have had today in 2024 with the women who have paved the way for successful careers and positions in this 21st century? He would be fighting an uphill battle, to say the least. Nevertheless, Comte believed that women were destined to play subordinate roles, confined to the realms of emotion and morality, while men were to dominate the realms of reason and intellect. These views reflected the gender norms of his time, but they are not only starkly sexist by today's standards, but they would be considered obsolete views with no relevance in today's society. To be fair, we have to at least give Comte the benefit of the doubt of his era and generation. The way things were during Comte's era were much different. He lived in a high society that believed in the inherent inferiority of women, so this meant that they were excluded from his envisioned ruling class. Or at least that's all we have to go by. Women, he thought, should be confined to the private sphere, leaving the public domain to be managed by men. Comte's sexist and authoritarian views stand in stark contrast to his contributions to sociology, casting a shadow over his legacy. His positivist philosophy laid the groundwork for the scientific study of society. Yet his deeply flawed views on gender and social hierarchy are a stark reminder of the human capacity for bias and prejudice. It's a sobering thought, reminding us that even the greatest of minds can harbour deeply problematic views. So, how should we remember Auguste Comte? As a pioneer of sociology or as a proponent of sexism and authoritarianism? This question has sparked a fascinating debate among scholars, a debate that digs deep into the heart of how we evaluate historical figures. On one side of the coin, we have the champions of Comte, who speak of his undeniable contributions to the world of philosophy and sociology. They argue, and not without merit, that Comte's work laid the groundwork for our understanding of society and human interaction. His concept of positivism has left a lasting imprint on the academic world and beyond. Many of the principles he proposed are still echoed in sociological discourse today. On the flip side, there are those who view Comte through a more critical lens. They remind us of his oppressive views on women, his belief in a rigid social order, and his authoritarian tendencies. These critics argue that the darkness of these views casts a long shadow over his philosophical contributions. The legacy of Comte, therefore, is a constant balancing act. We find ourselves suspended between recognition of his groundbreaking work and the undeniable controversy of his personal beliefs. It's a delicate dance, a perpetual teetering on the edge of admiration and critique. In the end, Comte remains a paradox, a testament to the complexity of human thought and philosophy. His contributions, while substantial, are forever shadowed by his controversial views, yet they serve as a reminder that even flawed thinkers can profoundly shape our world. And, as always, we thank you for joining us for another episode at Philosophical Flicks. If you have not done so, please consider subscribing to the channel if you find this content educational and engaging. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other.